Okay, hey, how you guys doing? Adrian Pearson, best-selling author of Stolen Bloodline, A Penny's Worth, available now on Amazon. You can click the link below. It'll be attached to this video. Um, Came to you guys a couple of days ago. I'm in the process of marketing um, the book. So I tell you, I'm a best-selling author because I am. I know you guys are gonna buy. And so it came to me that I needed to come to YouTube. So I came to YouTube. I read the creation story to the book, and I really didn't put any metadata in it. Didn't really do anything to it, and surprisingly, it got it got some views. Right, it got 26 views, and I'm thinking I didn't do anything to it. People are watching. People are listening. So I got motivated, and I said, "Well, hey, maybe this is an opportunity to create an audience." So I am gonna start calling this reading with the author or laying with the author. Maybe we'll figure out a name as you guys journey on this channel and listening to this story and my story. So we're gonna start off. I think what we're gonna do today is I'm going to read the prologue. I'm gonna start the prologue to the book for you guys. Give you guys some in-depth, new. This is free content. Free content to a book that's gonna change the world. So um, right now, let's just enjoy it. I'm gonna read. I've never been a narrator, but what I'm gonna do is I'm going to narrate my own book. So let's listen and let's see what we get out of it. The word African American sat on my skin like a too tight sweater, scratchy, heavy, not mine. Miss Davidson stood at the chalkboard, back stiff as a church pew. As African Americans, she said, writing the words in a perfect cursive that curled like spider legs, your ancestors endured the harshness of slavery and the voyage across the Atlantic. You should be proud of your heritage. The chalk scraped loud against the board, and I watched the letters crawl across the green slate like they carried ghosts. Granny never called us that. Not African American, not even black. She said we'd always been here, rooted deep as the red clay in the tobacco fields. Said folks let the world rename them too easy, like slapping a new label on a jar could change what's inside. But when I talked to Mama on the phone, she told me, be black and proud, her voice big like Reverend Massey. Mama called every Saturday. Same time, same crackle in the line. You reading books? She'd ask, her voice already slipping through the static, halfway gone before I could answer. I always said, yes, because it was always true. Every time I'd ask, when you coming to get me? And every time she'd say the same thing, soon, baby. But soon never came. So after a while, I stopped asking. A snicker behind me. DeAndre sat behind me, close enough that his breath touched the back of my neck like a whisper he didn't need permission for. What's wrong, Kunta? His voice dripped like summer sweat. Forget how to pick cotton? The kids around us giggled. My throat closed up tight as a mason jar. Roots Week had turned DeAndre's mouth into a switchblade. John's daddy probably still picking it, he clowned. That one hit different, like brain freeze from a Slurpee, sudden and sharp. My fist curled against the desk edge. Truth sat in my gut like a rock. I didn't know anything about my daddy. He was a Polaroid, never taken, a story nobody told. I didn't even know his name. Miss Davidson clapped her hands, sharp as a breaking beans. All right, class. Family Tree Project. 3 generations. Parents, grandparents, great-grandparents. Legacy. Legacy. My palms went slick. Mama's side was easy. Cottons and days. Their footprints deep in Hillsboro dirt. But Daddy, a blank space where his name should have been. A stump, not a tree. DeAndre leaned over his desk, grinning like a cat full of canaries. Ain't no roots for a weed. The blacktop burned under November's lazy sun, holding heat like Granny's cast iron skillet. I tried to walk it off, dribbling a half-flat basketball against the pavement, each bounce echoing like an unanswered question. But DeAndre found me anyway. He always did. He strolled up with his boys behind him, drawing them in like flies to shit. The girls stood off to the side, smacking bubblicious plastic barrettes clicking like secret codes. His laugh fed off the crowd, growing bold. Boy, look at them shoes, he said, pointing at my Chuck Taylors. They so run over, look like they taking a nap. The crowd oohed. Boys stomped their British Knights and LA Gears against the concrete. You got jokes? I shot back. You out here with them Goodwill Pro Wings, looking like you ran all the way here from Africa. Somebody snorted so loud they sounded like one of Granddaddy's old hogs. DeAndre grinned, tongue flicking like a snake. John's so ugly, he got to sneak up on a glass of water just to take a sip. The crowd bust out laughing. One of DeAndre's boys started beatboxing, puffing his cheeks out like the fat boys on Soul Train. Another kid made slurping noise like I was thirsting and eating. DeAndre kept going. Boy, your hair's so nappy, your comb need a permission slip just to get through. Laughter hit me from all sides, hot and fast like summer rain. I swallowed hard, tried to let it roll off like water on a duck's butt. It was just dozens. I could take dozens. But then DeAndre's grin sharpened. Nah, for real though, he said, voice cutting through the noise. You a nigga with no daddy. That's why you mad. The laughter turned, like a game of tag when you're suddenly it. Some kids still chuckled, but others got real quiet. They knew that wasn't play no more. Granddaddy's voice rang in my head, sharp as frostbitten morning. Niggas, roaches, and flies are three things I despise. I swung. My fist met DeAndre's nose with a crack, like when Little Mac scores a hit on Glass Joe. He hit the blacktop, hands flying to his face like startled birds. Blood dripped between his fingers, dark and shiny against the pavement. Fight! Fight! The chant swallowed the playground whole. The principal's office smelled like lemon pledge and old books, history trapped in paper. I sat there, fist balled in my lap, jaw locked tight. Coach Williams stood near the door, arms crossed. Principal Richards sighed. John, we've talked about this before. I stared at my shoes, silent. A knock at the door, soft as conscience. Uncle Robert strolled in, Hillsboro Eagles cap, pulled low, trailing Newports in cocoa butter like memories. Principal Richards rubbed his temples. Mr. Cotton? Save it. Uncle Robert tipped his hat toward the door. Come on here, boy. Outside, the heat sat thick and heavy as guilt. Uncle Robert's Cadillac idled at the curb, gleaming like redemption. Let me see. I turned my face, showed the knot on my head. He chuckled. Mama gonna take Daddy's old razor strap to your ass. The car door creaked as I slid in, black ice and old vinyl wrapping around me like judgment. Uncle Robert cranked the engine. Freddie Jackson played soft through the speakers. He tapped the wheel, humming like he ain't had a care in the world. Then, without looking at me, you ready to die? By the time we hit the driveway, I could already smell the fried chicken and cornbread floating through the screen door. Last supper. Sweet. I swallowed and pushed the door open. Granny stood at the counter, knife thunking through a sweet potato like time itself. She didn't turn, didn't pause. Spit it out, her voice steady as a scripture. I licked my lips. Fought DeAndre. Mm-hmm. Thunk. He called me the word. The knife stopped like Sunday morning. This is a dual timeline. So that is the first part of the prologue. This is the second part of the prologue. This is called The Reclamation of Opachincanno, Chesapeake Bay, 1571. Mist swirled thick among the trees. rising from the damp earth as though exhaled by ancestral spirits. The York River murmured past its dark waters, stretching toward the bay, bearing secrets older than any living tongue. Shadows shifted beneath the towering pines, and the air carried the tang of distant smoke. The village lay silent. Longhouses, their roofs thatched with march grass, arced around a central fire pit where embers pulsed like a slow heartbeat. Even the hounds were still, ears twitching at sounds only they could perceive. Opachancono crouched in the undergrowth, his fingers tight on his blade's hilt. 7 winters had passed since he had felt this land's breath, since the Spanish had taken him, pressed their god upon him, and buried his name in alien syllables. Paquiquenu, they called him first, then Don Luis de Velasco, a prince baptized under chains. But here, in the soil, still marked by his ancestors' footprints, he reclaimed himself. He was home. He was home. Across the clearing, 7 Jesuits knelt in prayer. Cloaked in simple habits, they lifted their faces to the coming dawn, breaths curling in the cold as Latin murmurs drifted on the air. They did not see the figures shifting at the tree line or hear the soft tread upon the frozen ground. Opa-chan Kano inhaled slow and deep. This is my mother, weaving rush mats by the water. He closed his eyes. This is my father's bow, gleaming with bear fat, and Wahun Senekwa's laughter before our first hunt. He exhaled, the memory filling him with purpose. Smoke spiraled from the Jesuits, small fire, carrying a faint odor of smoldering fish. The intrusion of foreign prayers echoed across a land that did not know their names. Then, silent as wind through pine needles, warriors emerged. Their bodies shone with bear grease, copper skin traced in clan sigils. Some wore braids or twisted hair, each style steeped in lineage. They bore weapons of stone and sharpened bone, older than the faith these men had brought to the Chesapeake. Father Quiros looked up and froze. Recognition flickered across his face. Relief. Then doubt. Don Luis, he whispered, voice unsteady. What is this darkness? The name struck Opachancono's heart like a stone, a name he had cast into the sea. His hand found the metal crucifix at his throat, its weight heavier than ever. The firelight caught its gleam as he tore it free and let it drop. It sank into the frost with a soft whisper. The Jesuits stiffened, clutching rosaries or reaching for words that would not come. You tried to make me in your image, Opachicanal said, his voice steady, to erase who I am. Father Quiros swallowed. We came to bring the light of the Lord. Open Chancano's gaze held firm. You sought to make us shadows beneath it. Silence settled. Then the first blade struck flesh. A strangled cry shattered to stillness, lost to the forest. The Jesuits did not run. Some fought, crosses clenched. Others murmured prayers that dissolved in the cold morning air. Father Quiros stood fast, crucifix in hand. You came to sever our spirits, Opachecano said quietly, stepping forward, to poison this earth with your God. A single stroke of his blade brought finality. The dawn spilled over the horizon, illuminating the river with blood-red light. Opachan Kano did not look back as he moved past the broken bodies, past the ashes of their God, into the brightness of a new day. He had returned. He was home. That, my friends, that is the end of the prologue. So as you can see, it's a dual timeline prologue. This is setting up to be an epic. I want you to come back and join me tomorrow, maybe the next day, for chapter 1, Stolen Bloodline Pennyworth. Click the link below. You can buy the book. It's available ebook in ebook form on all platforms: Barnes& Noble, Apple Books, Kindle. It's also available on Amazon on hardback and paperback. Now, this is not the kind of book that you leave on your device. This is the kind of book that you put on your bookshelf and that you need a physical copy of it. So right now, click the link below. Don't forget, hit a like and share this and subscribe. Love you. Peace, tribe.